Ah,
Hello. Welcome to RamGoatAstrology. I'm Laura Lee.
and I'm Helena. Hello.
And I'm feeling better today.
Yeah.
Processed the emotions. I was editing our last episode and I don't know, it was healing to me to listen to it back again.
I was gonna ask, was that like,
It was, and it
cool.
took me a couple days to do it, but it was really, I think, what I needed. I think, and I'm like, we're going to release on Fridays now.
Yeah, yes. So we can, good.
Just to
Now
work
we're
with
going
our
to be
flexible schedules and whatnot. So we're going to move it to Fridays. And I just decided this yesterday as it was Friday and I was releasing it. But it was healing to go back and, I don't know, just see yourself in a different perspective and in a different energy, and then watch it after like some healing has taken place. So I enjoyed it. And now today, we're going to jump into a totally new topic.
Yes. New
What made
to
you
us
what
and
made you
new to
interested
everyone.
about this one? You came up with this one.
How did I come up with this one? Sometime during this day, I think I was reading up about astrology in different articles and just getting into it because today is my astrology day. And then I think I just sort of fell on top of this part of fortune thing. And I was
Part
like, oh, I
fortune.
remember hearing about that before, but I've never really looked into it much. Like I've always saved it for like another day. I'm like, oh, I can read about that later. And this time I was like, okay, well, let's have a look then, you know?
I do know
And
that is what I do with astrology. I'll pull something up and go, okay, parking lot that. I want to learn about Vesta, but I don't have the bandwidth today. I used up all my data. So let's put that in the parking lot to learn for later. And this has definitely been an aspect. I think it's an aspect. Yeah, it's not an actual physical object
no,
that
like a
I've been
it's a
curious about.
calculation. Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
an aspect.
I'm going to, for those of you watching or listening, if you want to watch, I'm pulling up Cafe Astrology. It is a calculation. Yes, it is an Arabic part. And these are sensitive points in a chart and are calculated using specific formulas where two planets or points are added together and then a third point or planet is subtracted. I don't know what Arabic parts means. I haven't looked into that.
No, never heard of that before. It's so funny how you just keep on seeing new things. Yep.
Whole new rabbit hole. Whole
Yeah.
new rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So eventually we'll dive down that rabbit hole. We'll put that in our future shows. This is calculated for if your sun was above the horizon in houses 7 through 12, then you calculate it by the ascendant point plus the moon point minus the sun. For nighttime charts, if your sun is occupying houses 1 through 6, then it's the ascendant point plus the sun minus the moon.
Mm.
Okay.
And that does not make much sense to me because I'm really bad at math. So it's like if you want to, you can just go to there's lots of free calculations online, and me and Laura, we always use astro.com, and there you can just add part of fortune as an added object.
Helena's chart is up in front of us. She has her part of fortune at 1 degree 49 minutes in Cancer in the 6th house. We can't just take into account just that though, because this energy is right next to Chiron, which of course Chiron's influence is going to be there. So as you lean into whatever the part of fortune represents, taking note that this wounded healer or this thing you have to really create awareness around and heal is hanging out right there. Part of fortune represents worldly success and is associated with the physical body and health as well. And it can be indicative of the career or vocation. Well, that's fun.
Yeah. It sounds very old school astrology, part of fortune. Like this is what's great about you, and this other thing is what's bad about you, like so I think that's why I sort of saved it, because I've been like, nah, it sounds a little bit too like easy, you know what I mean?
Like here's
But
your button, this activate this and all your life will be grand. Yeah, like winning the lottery.
yeah, but it seems to be like, yeah, like unlocking another level within, like using, if you think about like TV, like computer games, oh, you have another tool to use. yeah, the big star or something.
So if
You know
this
what I
is,
mean? Like
I do. I do. So if this is indicative of your career or vocation, one of the things we were just talking about is, well, it's the sixth house. So that's being of service. And you work in the service industry, in the hotel industry.
I do. And I've actually always had service jobs. Every
Yeah.
single job, it's been they've been different, but they've all been service in the end, in one way or another.
And then you just launched your own solo podcast in Swedish.
Yep.
And really, what we do with this podcast and what your aim is for your own is helping people with healing, helping activate that compassionate side, that nurturing side, that heart understanding, which is so Cancerian.
Hmm.
And then when you mix it with that sixth house energy, you're being of service by providing your knowledge and insights in this compassionate educational way, right? Here's how you can love yourself better. Let's look
Yeah,
at Venus. Let's talk about relationships, right? Whatever we do. So I feel like this is you really stepping into the
definitely.
energetics of that.
I just had a click in my brain,
Tell me.
because Cancer energy is it's a very mothering. It's a very feminine. I would dare to say the most feminine in the chart. It's like, you know, the mother. And so I see my part of fortune there at 1 degree, and then I see my Chiron there at 3 degrees. And a big thing for me in my lifetime has been that I've had struggles with female friends a lot in my life, and like not really knowing how to sort of be that. Like I just had like I was broken up with a bunch of times. For a while I didn't have any female friends because I thought that all ladies were just evil. And
I,
it's
I
taking
feel
me,
this.
yeah, it took some time to realize that, okay, that might not be true. I've just, had some difficulties and some struggles that I have to learn. And what I'm doing now a lot, like when I launched that Swedish podcast 1 week ago, I invited home to my home, Cancer, 9 women who I find inspirational, and just celebrated this day in that feminine energy. And that was also very healing to me because I've never been the one to have like a girl gang, because I didn't understand how to act like that social girly thing that girl gangs used to do, and I
Yeah.
didn't get it. So I've been, I've shed so many tears about feeling like the outsider with those things, and now I'm sort of healing that, and I feel like it's really like beneficial for my life. I can feel how I am really flourishing, and like it's like a breath of fresh air, like a big breath of fresh air,
Mm,
huge breath of fresh air. And
mm.
that is so interesting to see that my part of fortune is there, and also my Chiron so close. Like it's the wound, and then it's also what is sort of what I need to gain luck and like fortune.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly what I love your description of your example because it very much feels like that feminine energetic healing. Oh, this is so fun. All right. We're going to continue
I
on
can
to
already
someone else.
feel so many more layers like clicking in the next few days after this.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it is we're planting the seeds right now within ourselves, right? And hopefully our listeners to check out their part of fortune. So when we look at part of fortune for me, mine's in the third house of talking, and which just makes me laugh because it's all I do. And it's in Leo, which is fun and play and children and being seen and creativity. Hello. That's my part of fortune is communicating, educating, and working with helping moms be better parents or helping, just the kid thing, the playful thing. I feel like I'm doing it. I'm trying anyway.
Yeah,
And mine
for sure.
happens to
And
be square to my Chiron. So it's not conjunct,
oh,
but still not having a good conversation.
oh, interesting. Because I was going to ask about that, because I remember you saying that when you were growing up, people were telling you that you were too loud. You were too loud. You're talking too much, taking too much space,
Always.
and they did not
Teachers,
know. You should have
teachers,
said,
everybody,
yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
everybody, my parents, my grandparents, my teachers, every adult I encountered at one point in our relationship said something about a too muchness. especially when I was like, I vividly remember first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, like that grade school. That's when it was really prominent, which is when you're really in your Leo energy.
Yeah,
Like that
playing.
is Leo, right? That's the playful, childlike energy. And that was when they were like, nope.
And did that make you quiet down, or what happened with
Oh,
you?
geez, no, I'm an Aries sun. No, no, I just didn't. I just kept doing me. I'm sure it had an impact because there did develop self-esteem issues for many years that I did work on then as far as speaking out and stepping into myself, right? Like I'm pretty sure my 20s, late teens and early 20s was me working on figuring that out. But now as I stepped into 38, 39, 40, 41, I feel like I'm really embodying that. Oh, hang on now. No, that not too much, just right.
Yeah. Yes.
Part of fortune is telling me exactly that.
But
So
when did you, because you knew that your part of fortune was in Leo, third house. When did you see that for the first time? Years ago? Few days ago?
maybe 2, 3 years ago. Not
Did you
not right.
have that realization like right away? Like, oh, that's my bigness. That's where, that brings me fortune in life. This is where I need to be.
It started to click, like you said, the
Yeah.
multi layers. And I find it interesting. Philip and I have this placement is one of the only things we have the same. His is also in Leo. His happens to be in the 5th house. So I was like, oh, kids are really
Okay.
like really. So both of us need to learn to play and be more childlike. Well, good thing we got a whole bunch of them to teach us.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is the career or vocation. And Cafe Astrology also says the condition and placement of the ruling planet of the part of fortune, that is the natural ruler of the sign in which the part of fortune is placed. This is an important factor to the interpretation of this point.
Yeah. So for you, the sun rules Leo. So the sun is a huge part of your personality. And I mean, I think everyone would agree, everyone who knows you and probably everyone who listens, that you shine, and and uh, and also that thing of like, and it gets warm also, and you don't, you're there, like the presence is very known, it's very like the sun, you see it, you can't escape it, it's there, but
There's
it's
no
nice and warm, and without it you'd be dead.
there's no creeping in for me. I'm not
Yeah.
somebody who can like creep in the back door of a wedding too late, right? That would be me, where the door would squeak and everybody's heads would turn and look, right? People just see me. I'm just this thing. I'm a beacon, and I get that. And the sun also goes to sleep sometimes too, so that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good night. So
Yeah.
yours would be the moon.
That's right. That's funny that we're the sun and the moon. And yeah. That's actually really funny. Yeah. That's cool. But when I realized that, when I saw that like, oh, it's the moon that is like the prominent part of my part of fortune, that was also like, what for me? Because when Facebook came many, many years ago, and I needed to choose a Facebook name. I wanted to be hidden. I didn't want to show myself because I have so many placements in the 12th house. So of course I wouldn't use my real name. I took a name, and the name I took was Olga Måne, which means moon. And I do not know.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Olga Moon. That's what you named
Olga
yourself.
Moon. That's what I named myself. And I just remember taking Olga because it was like a cool, felt like a strong name. And moon, I don't remember why, but I was like, like I was really drawn to the moon. And I've always been very drawn to the moon. It's like, this is, well, I knew, of course, we all know these things. It's just my consciousness wasn't conscious, but my subconsciousness was like, moon, moon,
Okay,
and this has
my
been like my name that I've used when I was a ceramicist, whenever I did anything, it's the name I'm using for my new podcast. It's because it's my other name, sort of.
And now I'm putting something together. Just this morning, I was doing my hair and brushing my teeth, and I always thinking, and my brain went into, I wonder why Helena and I work so well together, and why they, like, I know we've done our charts together, but man, we're just into this together. Like, this is a thing. And as soon as I realized, now your ruler is moon and mine is sun, and then I just looked at our charts real quick. Your Venus is in Gemini, and my moon and rising are in Gemini, and your Venus and my rising sign are conjunct. They're like 2 degrees apart. So I feel like we've got this very duality thing going for us. We've got the moon and the look at, you're even like in the dark.
I know, that's so freaking funny. No, that's too much. We always when we record, the moon is up for me and the sun is up for you. No, I cannot handle this.
This is weirding me out, you guys. Like, I can't. I love astrology because it's not, we're not looking for these connections. They're just there.
Yeah.
So worldly success, continuing on with our cafe astrology, worldly success and prosperity are associated with the part of fortune placement. Both in its sign and house placement suggest innate abilities and talents or areas of life and qualities that are expressed naturally.
Yeah. Yep. I can definitely.
There feels like a whole bigger undercurrent of why we came together and did this now, right? Like,
yeah.
Feels like something else magnetically under the surface brought us together.
Yep. So, because we didn't ever choose each other. No. Like it was, and it was no not accident at all. It was the universe who's doing it. It just happened. The teacher put us together because we were the late ones to do our homework and reply to something. And she's like, well, the tardy ones will be a pair.
Wah, wah.
Wah. Not so tardy now.
Where's tardiness in our chart? Where do we find that? Is it Mars?
No. I would say that mine would like Venus in Gemini makes me jump from thing to thing. It makes me distracted. So I feel like I am distracted when I'm doing things, and that makes me a little bit late. Where's Jupiter?
That makes sense.
Jupiter in 12th house. No.
Your Jupiter's in Gemini too.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. So that's me. And you?
Well, I'm all air and fire. So air, fire, and water. I don't have a schedule.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I think none of us also, like, you have a lot of Aquariusness. I have a little bit with my Venus and with Saturn, and the Uranus just does not want to really comply to any rules.
No.
So I think we have this thing underneath, just being like, well, you say I'm gonna send you a message at 4. Well, I might do it at 4:15, just because, you know what I mean? Like, having to just be a little bit not conforming.
I think that's why this podcast works for us, because even today we were going to meet at 9 and it's 9:05. I was like, sorry, I'm coming out. Saffron had a breakdown, right? Like, we have a general time and then we have a reality time.
We have a window. Yeah.
The window.
Hey mama, are you searching for a way to connect with your child in a better, deeper, healthier way? As a mom of 5 with teenagers, preteens, a toddler, and a baby, I get it. I get the frustration that comes with parenting. I get the surrender that needs to take place. I get the stress that can almost kill you. I get it. This is why I have created the Cosmic Mama Collective. This is a group I am so passionate about, and I invite you to join us, where we can share and grow and learn together, utilizing the energies of astrology and the planetary placements to understand what is happening, what's going on with your child, what's going on with you. And we can make sense of this craziness here in Earth School. Let me help you understand. Join the Cosmic Mama Collective. I can't wait to have you.
The part of fortune is where this is your innate abilities and these talents really get expressed naturally. It makes sense that you would be really good at digging into those wounds and really, really helping to nurture yourself and others, right? Helping to be really compassionate. And if people are having a hard time, I imagine you're the friend they turn to. I know I do.
Oh.
It's an energy that you really just have this really nurturing energetics and super grounded, right? With the Capricorn rising. So, and Capricorn. So I think it is very, and of course for you, it's the 6th house. So you want to be of service. How can I be of service?
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
hug you. I can make you food. Do you want to come hang out at my apartment? You want me to listen to your WhatsApp message that's 6 minutes long? That's cool.
Yeah. This makes so much sense because I really, really feel good doing those things, and they feel so right in my whole world. And it's like one of those things, when you do something and you're like, when I do this, when I do these things align, because it's your truest self. And that's sort of, it really makes sense for me. What about you? You feel like, when you get to be that sun? Yeah.
Of course, Leo, 3rd house. Anytime I see 3rd house, I think Gemini, which I love Gemini. So now I get to be bold and brave and big like that sun and communicate it out. That probably looks like writing books. That probably looks like podcasting. That probably looks like having a collective where I teach mamas how to be better mamas.
Yeah, for sure. And Leo, I always think of Leo and like Aries as well. Aries is very much a leader, and Leo is also a leader. They're a little bit different. Leo is sort of that leader in a way that people cannot help to not look at you. So you sort of become that, even if you choose it or not, you just become a leader because people see you. You're like shining and glowing, like sparkly, because that's what I feel with Leo. So it's also that, like, you are running this Cosmic Mama collective. You are starting things up. You are writing these books. Like it's also that leader role. You're not living your life in a way where someone tells you what to do and you do it.
Oh yeah, no.
No.
I had a lot of jobs that didn't work out because they would tell me what to do, which is what a job is, right? But I get that.
We forget that.
But I just didn't, it didn't work. I want to have that leadership role. And then of course with the Aquarian Acres, my role here, my children call me the queen, which I don't mind at all, but I am the queen here, queen CEO of the Aquarian Acres. And I'm pretty much the idea generator. If I get an idea and it makes any decent amount of sense, we typically do it. So it is, and my kids are very much like my support team. I picture I have like this entourage of large people behind me that are like my support planets. I've got the earth realm over here and the fire realm here, right? It is something I feel that Leo 3rd house it just makes sense what I do. And before children, it was dog training. So I was a professional dog trainer for 15 years. And I helped people with their fur pets and their fur babies and help to live better and play and have more fun in general. My thing is always fun. If it's not fun, I don't do it.
But also, what does a dog trainer do? It's that leader who's like, lie down, sit down, or I don't know. But I feel like you're setting the rules. Like, this is the rules. This is what you do.
That feels to me like the Aries sun, that militant kind of leadership. Whereas now I'm leaning into the sun, the Leo sun energy in the Cosmic Mama Collective, where I'm just kind of being there. I'm creating the space. I'm having the gathering space open. And then I'm just waiting there with my warmth, right? And letting people come bathe at the beach.
I'm thinking about you who are listening now and wondering, but what is my part of fortune? And how will I know what that means? Yes, I understand that, like, we know a lot about astrology, so for us it's easy to sort of decipher our placement. But what I would suggest is that first you find the sign that it's in, Then you can Google the sign, like what are the qualities of this sign? Then you can Google the house. What are the
Good
leading
idea.
words for this house? And then you sort of have to get a little bit creative and put it together and just feel into it and think that, okay, these things put me in a good place. That's sort of what the part of fortune seems to be.
It seems to be, yes, for sure. So, I mean, worldly success is a pretty solid title right here, and prosperity.
Yeah.
I would suggest finding your part of fortune and putting that in your head. Right.
Yes.
I don't think when I brought this up about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I was looking this up and I was talking to Philip about his, I don't think he liked it. I don't think he was really excited about having his in Leo in the 5th house.
He's a Capricorn.
He's 4 planets in Capricorn and a
Of
Taurus
course.
rising.
And his moon in the 12th house also. So
Chiron on his sun, on his rising sign. So this man was like, I have to do what now? I have to shine with children? I don't wanna.
hang on, wasn't he doing like a play with your kid the other month or something?
It was shortly after that his solar return shifted, and it was his birthday. I remember his Christmas, around Christmas time, and he ended up then auditioning and starting to play more. And now he's auditioning for plays all the time.
Yeah.
On his own. I don't do nothing.
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing. Like for me, if I would have heard this, like my part of fortune is in Cancer with like feminine energy in 6th house of service. If I would have heard this at 21, I would have been like, okay, no, that's not me. And I do not want to do those things. Yeah. So it's like this something that we grow into.
Yeah. If you would ask me at 21 while we were like trying desperately to get pregnant and had no kids, no, that was not where I was. It feels, we don't know much about it yet. We're still exploring, but it feels like this is something that is very much grown into kind of like your North Node.
Yeah.
These are
it's part of fortune. Yeah. So I feel like it's a path, like this is the path. And like with life and with our charts, it's also like some parts of the chart has a growth span, like you grow into these energies. And yeah, I've always had my part of fortune there, but I was not ready for it before. I'm ready for it now. And it started happening before I knew about the placement. So it's not like you need to know the placement for it to start activating, but I guess when you see it, it's easier to use it, like with everything in astrology.
Just like the last episode, we were talking about that when the consciousness of Pluto's existence came into our consciousness, we could really then work with it. But before that, it was just kind of happening to us, and there wasn't the awareness of. And I love that you brought that up. I think it is that bringing it to the forefront, and that's really what we try to do with astrology. The other day, I was watching a video that my friend who's in the spirit realm, Matt, he does quantum healing, hypnosis, and all that. He went to a spirit conference, I guess, gathering in Los Angeles, and he was recording a guy who is a channeler, and I've seen him on some YouTube channels and stuff, and he channels a specific race of people or being or something like that.
Like the Pleiades or something.
Yeah, Palladians, something like that. And he was talking about, somebody had asked a question from the audience about astrology. And Matt recorded this and I watched it, and it was such a beautiful explanation. And he said, yes, it's a permission slip. It's a permission slip for you to be who you are and do what you're here to do. And I was like, oh, yes, it is a permission slip. It's that validating, yep, you can go to the bathroom, you have your hall pass, right? Yep, you can be loud and teach people all of the stuff and talk all the time. People will actually want to listen to you, right? You can be compassionate and nurturing on a daily basis. That is what you're here to do, right?
Yeah.
Knowing, getting that permission slip, you kind of feel like, just like the last episode where I was emotional and struggling, and then we looked in the chart and it just made me go, it's okay. It's all right. So I love the idea of explaining astrology as your personal permission slip.
Yeah.
Doesn't that feel good?
It does. It does. It's really just that that image or of someone just like, yeah, dropping the shoulders. It's really that feeling of like, oh, like softening
So it
into.
looks like the part of fortune is really connected with profession. Like what energetics of your profession? What's your profession really going to be, your
Yeah,
or where you really want to put your energy towards? That's as I'm
yeah.
kind of reading more about it. It looks like this, and of course, if there's conjunct planets, it says you got to look at those because they will play a role in the profession you choose. So for you, I imagine you would look for people who have that hidden wound that is starting to come out, and you would recognize it in them and you would help them to heal it. That feels like, oh, I recognize that. You've got, oh, that's your deep, deep self-esteem wound or your self-worth wound. It's cool. Come on, let's talk about it. Right. And you like take in like a lost puppy and help them to give them warm milk in a warm place and then adopt them out.
Yeah. And it's interesting because thinking back, I've had also, yeah, I've had, this makes me sound like a troubled person, but I've had also issues with former bosses who were women, always women, a little bit older than me, and like, there's been a handful of times when I have had big clashes, and couldn't stay at that place. Like if it was like work or some kind of collaboration or like a studio. I've had several, and I knew that it was a teaching in there. I just didn't. It was so frustrating because I'm like, this feels like it's coming from somewhere else. Why does this keep happening? And it's that Chiron there, and part of fortune is trying to put me with this women, and it's like Chiron is like
So intriguing. Now that you've said that about the women, I have had all of my issues with bosses have been with masculine egotism, masculine ego. I've had encounters with, okay, so we're going to put this out there, you guys, all right? No judgment. I've had 49 jobs. For real. That's not a made up number. And of those 49 jobs, I have either left or been fired from probably half because of a male authority figure either accusing me of things I didn't do, telling me to be smaller and not as big as I needed to be, right? Don't be seen. Don't ask for a pay raise for what you deserve, right? Very much suppressing. So mine has been masculine energy and male bosses. So interesting. You guys, you got to check out your power of fortune. This is so intriguing.
whoa.
It's like a weird puzzle that you've got your life puzzle, right? And this is a main piece that you've been missing and you didn't know it. And then finally you found it. You're like, oh, here it is. Oh, look at that.
Now I can see the picture. Yeah.
That makes a new picture. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. So I want to go through all my like kids charts and stuff.
Yeah,
so this
for
is
sure.
really interesting. It says, we're going down a rabbit hole. It says it's interesting to note that the Arabic part of spirit is calculated in an opposite manner and also symbolizes the reverse or opposite theme of spiritual well-being. What?
Wait.
What?
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's also a point. What was it called? The spiritual part
of spirit.
Part of spirit. Oh, it's like what does that mean? Part of okay. So this is where I find my spirituality.
I don't know, but I'm super intrigued. I had never heard of this before. I feel like I've studied astrology for a while. New stuff.
We're never gonna be done, and I don't feel a need to either, because I just know that there is, like, honestly, what I feel is that this is a knowledge that you acquire not through one life but through lifetimes. And yeah, this does not fit into a human lifespan, and it's not supposed to, because this knowledge is huge. And I mean,
I have definitely spoken this language before.
mm.
I remember being in Deborah Silverman's school, Applied Astrology, where we met, and getting the information from them in a new way. instead of just like my self-taught with books and articles and stuff. And I remember studying it and reading it, and I heard someone go, in my head. Like there was a very clear sigh of, I know this. It felt comforting, like when you snuggle into a cushy chair. My brain just knew it. It just, it's like when you finally get fluent in another language or something, you feel comfortable conversing in it. This is my other language.
Yeah.
So intriguing.
It really
So how do you
is.
feel about your part of fortune now that we've dove into that?
I feel like honestly, like some things in astrology when I first saw it, it's like, oh, okay, and then I read more about it and I learn. I'm like, oh, okay, yes. But this one is one of those when I'm like, yeah, I get it. Really.
It, like I said,
It makes
it's a
sense,
puzzle
and
piece.
yeah,
It just fits. There it is.
but it sort of gives me also this thing of like, oh, okay, great. I felt like this was the right direction. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going in that direction.
Do you know how helpful this would be to high schoolers or early 20-somethings who are like, what do I want to do with myself?
Yeah.
Here, let's go look. Let's look at your 10th house. How can we combine 10th house? How can we combine Saturn? How can we combine your part of fortune, your Venus, and put that into a career package for you?
Yeah.
It's not ever just one thing. It's the merging of them. So if you were to combine Venus in Aquarius in the 10th house and part of fortune in Leo in the 3rd house, I feel like I'm doing that. I'm using the internet to create community, to bring in income, to teach people about parenting and fun and communicate it all out. Talk.
For sure.
So fun. I love this. Have we said that before? I love this.
Yeah. No, I'm at a loss for words.
I agree. Which is where we don't often get to a loss for words. So if you guys want to hop on the show and be interviewed by us or check out a chart, we would love to have you on. If you'd like a private reading, we can help you interpret your part of fortune. Or if you want to just like and share this with somebody, we would super appreciate it. But thanks for tuning in today. We had
so much fun.
Fun exploring.
I learned so much.
Our fortunes. Yay. And knowing that we're doing them. We're actively doing them.
Yep.
That feels good. Well, thanks everybody. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of RamGoatAstrology. You can support the show by buying us a coffee or a tea. Link in the show notes. Your financial support means the world to us. Join us next time.